What's your favorite, oops, just really messed up moment? It was my first day as a help desk technician. I had been asked to change printer toner on the main printer in the company office. I pulled the black toner out, and I dropped it. The thing exploded like it was a New Year's fireworks show. All over me, all over the floor, all over the printer. Even 10 years later, I still think they're digging toner out of the cubicle. I look like one of those cartoon images where Elmer Fudd was given a Bornby just before it exploded and then it blew up. Fortunately, my boss was my friend, and he laughed his ass off. Photos, email distribution, the works. I made my best effort to clean it up until the facilities guy shoved me aside and said, "Let me do it," with his nuclear-powered backpack vacuum. I'm just glad it wasn't the yellow I dropped. I didn't want to look like I peed my pants all day. I had just started a new job as a registered sales assistant at a major firm. All fresh and excited with my new Series 7, I was ready to do trades. My supervisor handed me a dealliance statement and told me to liquidate the holdings, and not noticing some of the holdings were highlighted, I proceeded to liquidate the entire account instead of about 25% of it. Worst part 1. Didn't realize it until she came over. She could see the trades in real time as I was selling, and asked me what was I doing? I got red, heated and ran to compliance to get it fixed. Our compliance officer told me to dry my tears, take a walk and have a Coke. He called it my rite of passage. Never had another trading error. I prepaid for gas and never pumped it. I just paid, walked out the door and got in my car and drove off. I was a brand new, right out of college computer programmer. Back before we had software developers. We worked on mini computers at the time, and I had a long process that I needed to run which tied up my terminal. I went into the storage closet and dragged out another terminal so that I could do stuff while the process ran. An old version of multitasking. You kids have no idea how easy you have it nowadays. Well, because the new kid had 2 terminals, none of the other programmers wanted to look less productive. So, everyone else did that. Then a week or so later, the president of the company came back to the programmer area so he could mess around with some new hardware that came in. He looked around and said, "Looks like everybody has 2 terminals now." Quote, being a smart ass, I quickly quipped. Quips get at least a chuckle. FLL. We all have BWO hands. Which was met with silence. Usually my. It was then that I remembered that the president of the company did not, in fact, have 2 hands. He had a birth defect and one did not develop properly. Got a basketball stuck high up in a tree one time. I thought it would be a good idea to throw a rock at it to dislodge it. My dad's car was under the tree and the rock went right through the windshield on the way down. Recommended a buddy of mine to work with me. Gave him extremely high praises because he truly does deserve it. He failed the drug test. They found cocaine in his cistern. Last time I ever recommend anyone for a job. I got a text from one of my higher-ups in the military about needing to change barracks rooms and he had a bitchy tone. So I immediately screenshotted it and sent it to my GF with the caption, "Look at this bitch," but as soon as I hit send, I saw he sent it back to him instead. The following days were not fun for me. Just yesterday I was coming home from the pre-dinner walk. SPM road rush time. With my husky. I got to my door and like a total fucking idiot I shuffled the order of operations. I unclasped his leash, then pulled out my keys to open my door. Turned around and my boy was gone. Spent 20 minutes playing what seemed like a fun game of tag for him but was incredibly scary for me. Because he was weaving across busy roads. finally got M, but it was totally a TIFU, and I was glad that we all got home safe for dinner. I was fresh out of undergrad and working at a small university. One of my coworkers came out crying, so I asked her what was wrong. She said she just got a phone call that her sister lost her leg. I didn't mean to say it, but my brain decided for me, and I replied to her, "Oh, well, I hope she finds it." Her sister's leg was run over and cut off by a trolley. They did not need help locating it. She did take the joke like a champ though, and even thanked me later for adding some light-hearted humor and making her laugh. Like her sister's leg, I left the part where I didn't mean to say it cut off. Wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it's one that haunts me the most. When I was in college, I went to a computer in the school library. They were on these big circular desks with computers all around. It was morning, so I was kind of tired. Some people were on the computers working already. And me being kind of tired still, I sat there, got on a computer, and then I stretched my arms and then stretched my legs out. And unfortunately, the power strip for the computers was near me on my side, and my foot hit the button on the power strip and turned off all the computers on that desk. I don't remember what she looked like, but I still remember the kind of look of quiet anger and frustration of this girl that was working on a paper just suddenly lose all of her work. She just quietly got up and walked away. I would have felt better if she just stood up and punched me in the face. High school gym class. Playing street hockey in the gym. One of the guys in my class picks up the net and kind of jokingly pretends to throw it at me. I say, "Hey, it's all fun and games until you lose an eye." He just quietly puts the net down and walks away. As I slowly remember, horrified, that he had lost an eye in a skiing accident a few years earlier. He had a glass eye, so it wasn't always immediately obvious. I wanted to melt through the bleachers. I just started a new chefing job at my dream restaurant. I had been there for a couple weeks and prepping in the back kitchen. When I went to put a cutting board back on the rack, I didn't realize it was falling to the side, and it was too late when hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars of restaurant white dishware fell, shattering to the ground. Plates, bowls, ramekins, trays, you name it. Still can't believe they kept me. Somehow when I was in high school, late 90s, everyone who still lived at home at the time had waterbeds, which made moving into a new house a bit of a pain in the ass. I remember getting all of the beds set up and having the garden hose in the last one to fill it up. While this is happening, the van with the rest of the house in it arrived, and everyone goes to start unloading. No one is watching this last waterbed fill. Several hours later over pizza, my sister comes into the kitchen and says that the carpet in the hallway is wet. And we all had a collective, "Ely fucked up" moment. The bed had overfilled to the point that the fill nozzle was like 3 feet over the sides of the frame. The mattress was horribly stretched. The hose had detached and was just dumping onto the floor. It took several hours to shop vac the water out of the carpet, but we were able to deflate and salvage the mattress at least. When I was in college and my dad lived in DC, he bought me a plane ticket to go visit him. I went to Texas, a sim, so the closest major city was Houston, and I'd never flown out of there before. So I arrive at the airport about an hour and a half before my flight, and I can't find the check-in for Southwest Airlines. So I asked an airport employee, and he gave me this look like, "Dude, please tell me you're not being serious right now." I was at and Southwest only flies out of Hobby, which is all the way on the other side of Houston, and it was rush hour. I did not make the flight. Coaching my young 7-year-old's son's hockey team, and after a few practices I just have to walk up to one of the mothers Trying to be open. Excuse me, but is there any chance you have a younger sister that went to XX high school? Mother. Trying to be open, it's me. Trying to be open. At